Hi and welcome to the third and final part of this episode of the RPG show, which is all about the Ark the Lad collection. What you're seeing here is the intro to Ark the Lad 3, as that's the name popping up there confirms. And as you can see, the quality of the cutscenes has improved quite a bit compared to the previous two games, because this was actually released quite a few years later, in 1997, I believe. The main characters this time are Alec and his best friend Lutz, who is clumsy and the source of most of the game's humour, and of course the butt of quite a few jokes. I believe it's no coincidence that his name sounds like Klutz, because that's basically what he is. They're also joined by Chloe, a gun-wielding girl, Marsha, a magic casting lady, and Velhart, a very strong knight. Yeah, there they go. And Theo, I forgot to, is this game's monster trainer, although it works slightly differently compared to the last game, because you actually capture monsters in cards, and then you can have 6 cards on you at any one time and decide which ones to use in battle. So in a second you will see a bit of footage that I shot to basically demonstrate the graphical style of the game. Here we are. You can see it's moved into 3D for this one. The closest thing I can compare it to really is Xenogears. I don't know if you've seen that. I might do a video on that at some point as well, because it wasn't released in PAL territories either, like this. It's basically a 3D world with 2-dimensional sprites placed in it, and the sprites are more realistic in their proportions compared to the last two games. They're not sort of the cartoony, super deformed style. And basically the gist of the game, at the start of the game, is that as a youngster, Alec was rescued from a fire thanks to events caused by the Elk and Party at the end of the last game, by a hunter, and he's always looked up to this hunter and longed to be one himself. So that's basically what they're talking about at the moment. And then they hear gunshots coming from the village and run off to help, which leads into the first battle of the game. I've skipped ahead quite a lot of that cutscene because it goes on for ages. Basically, you have to go off to a nearby village and try and get help from a hunter, and on the way you will be attacked by these opossums on a bridge, and they're your bog standard beginner enemies really. Only a couple of turns will see them off, and I believe one of my characters gains 2 levels just by killing one monster in a minute, which seems a bit extreme. Once again, I pressed the wrong button, as I do in all these videos. One kill killed that guy, and there's 1 level up, and then there's another one. So you do gain quite a bit of experience earlier in the game, and overall it is a far easier game than part 2, and all the more enjoyable for it, in my opinion. Although the RPG elite may prefer the difficulty level of part 2. That was Lutz's ability Knife Rain, and at the moment Alec hasn't really got any combat abilities. He can cast Cure, as you can see there, but at the moment we just want to finish this guy off because he's pretty weak and we don't need to be cured at the moment. That's basically it for Arc 3. I wanted to take a bit of time in the rest of the video to just show you a little bit of the PlayStation 2 sequel, which isn't part of the collection, just to show you where the series went after this. This game was released in 2004, I think, and it's it was quite an interesting story because it's divided up into chapters, and you alternate between supposedly the good guys, the humans, and the bad guys, the demos, or sort of monsters and demons, although they are ultimately both working on the same side, and they do come together eventually, from what I recall, to combat the main evil of the game. Yeah, the graphics are decent even today, and in a moment you'll see a little bit of a battle scene that I recorded, but it's pretty late into the game though, because there was just so much boring cutscenes to get through right at the beginning that I decided to load up one of my old save games, and it was 37 hours into the game, as it turns out, out of a 45-hour game roughly. So in this one, instead of your movement space being in squares, like you've seen on the previous videos, it's a circle, and you can move anywhere within that circle, and then attack just by pressing the X button. And your special moves all have different sort of areas of effect, and some can target one enemy, and others can target multiple enemies. This is quite late in the game, as I mentioned, so there's quite a few different special moves here, and you can see as I move up and down, that red area changes to denote where I can cast it, but in the end I just went for Venom Arrow, and then you then have to move your crosshair to who you want to attack, and as you can see, it's going to hit both of those enemy characters, and indeed poison them in the process, which can be very useful because it will just sap their health over time like that. And I'm running out of time, guys, so I'll just recap, and that will be it. Okay, so thank you for watching this video all the way through to the end. I'm just going to recap the entire collection and let you know what I would score each game individually and then overall. You can expect to pay on eBay between £20 and £70, although the £70 did include a full strategy guide. Arc the Lad 1 would get 6 out of 10 from me because it's a little bit short. Arc the Lad 2 gets a 7 because it's more ambitious, but it gets extremely tough later on. Arc the Lad 3 gets an 8 because it's light-hearted and funny and was my personal favourite. Arc Arena gets a 5 because it's largely an unnecessary extra, although if you do get into the monster battles you may well enjoy it. And overall, as a package, including the games and all the packaging that I showed you in part 1, it would get 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching. I shall be doing another RPG show in the future. Bye.